¿Qué vale más, la vida o el orgullo? El orgullo.
Because I love to.
And we believe in it.
Logramos viajar, pero al pasado.
Hello and welcome to Cuentas CINE Youth Fest. My name is Raymond Arturo Perez and I am a Mexican-American television writer from San Antonio, Texas, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. As a storyteller, I am excited to create and center my stories around folks historically underrepresented in film and television, which is why I'm also super happy to host the third installment of Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Fest. Its existence shows that we have many Latina stories to tell and that our emerging artists are ready to tell them. For the next 30 minutes, we will learn everything about this year's festival, which will show not just the quantity, but the quality of films from our communities. Participants competed in 4 categories: animated short, music video, politics today, and sci-fi fantasy film. The breadth of themes has been incredible. This year championed coming-of-age stories, stories of migration, stories of grief, Mother Nature, and even time travel. This year, I am excited to share that of the 20 best short films in this festival, 11 were directed by women. Of those 11, 6 are among the 10 finalists. This is in sharp contrast to the Hollywood industry, where only 3 of the 95 Oscars for Best Director have gone to women. Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Fest is excited about our finalists, and we hope to continue to challenge the status quo. Every year, it becomes more difficult to choose the winners. With that said, we will get a sneak peek on how our prestigious jury selected our top 3 finalists this year. However, Tu Cuentas is not just about a competition, but a space for learning and inspiration. For the last few weeks, we have seen cafecitos and film chats with experts who shared their experiences and visions as Latina creators. Take a look. Welcome to Tu Cuentas Film Chat series.
Lots of different races and lots of different cultures are getting to be in the position of funding things and creating things that are seen from a different point of view.
First, you should not chase success. What you should chase, it's inspiration. What inspires you to move or to act over that story?
You are a fundamental creator in this economy.
The children of immigrants often have this extra layer of imposter syndrome.
For underrepresented communities, it's a lot harder for us to, get into film school, to get the training that we need.
Be positive, because your brain and your subconsciousness and the universe responds to the message that you're giving yourself and the message that you're putting out into the world.
And that was just a taste of all the fabulous conversations we had this year. Our speakers were stacked, baby. Without further ado, let's focus back on our competition. We are joined today by the festival's 3 judges, Lizza Monet Morales, Carlos Ruiz, and Omar Camilo, who had the privilege and hard work being the finalists and winners. First off, I'd like to welcome Lizza Monet Morales, a Mexican-American woman who has done a little bit of everything. She is an actress, a television host, a best-selling writer, and influencer, and has been recognized on many occasions as an inspiring agent of change. Welcome, Lizza.
Hi, Raimundo. It's so great to see you again. I'm like, yes, we have a reunion.
Right.
Mexican American, yes, as well as a Guatemalan American. So I love that I'm mixed. And I also love that we actually got to see so much diversity this year in our different nominees. So I'm pumped to be back.
Lizza, you are no stranger to being on the jury. What did you notice in particular with this year's short films as opposed to previous years?
So what I noticed is that the bar was raised. We were talking a little bit about beforehand, before we got started. It was hard to really narrow it down to the 3. One of my favorites, I don't think made it into the top 3. I'm going to have to give it an honorable mention a little bit later on. But I just was so excited to see that they took this year's topic and really push the limits. They could have phoned it in because we had politics this year. This is the first year that we also had animation. Music videos were allowed. We didn't get to see any music videos make it into like the semifinalists, but I'm glad that at least that avenue is now open for others. And I really appreciated seeing the creativity, the teamwork, and the way that even what we're looking at is the filmmaking team choice. A big shout out to the team of Go Danny Go. I love that there's so many females on there. That was something that really stuck to me in my heart. Also because I'm Guatemalan, I also love that they even changed the protagonist to be female, even though it was originally written as a boy. I think we also saw friendship, which was amazing, done in a different way. And we saw these first dates. One gave me like telenovela vibes. Puerto Rico, I have to say, really brought it. There was a lot of finalists coming in for Puerto Rico. And I really appreciated that both the films that we saw that were in English, or even if they were in Spanish with the English subtitles, that they were so clear with their direction in terms of what story they were telling, that's really what made it hard to narrow it down to those top three.
Amazing. Yeah, I got a chance to see our finalists, and to what you're saying about direction, the directors really brought it, having a clear vision and really honing in and focusing in on the story that they're telling, which I think is really incredible, especially given how young our artists are. I'd like to take it over to Carlitos. He is a director with vast experience in Hollywood who returned to his beloved Puerto Rico to create the production company OK Show Me, which seeks to develop Latin content for different media and platforms. And ask Carlos, what were the criteria you used to compare such wildly different stories?
I've been judging in festivals. Actually, I was a judge of the Chicago International Film Festival once. And you know what? When creativity goes into a room, you don't know anything about the director. Or the people who made it. And I try not to know anything before I go in, because the stories have to talk by themselves. The stories have to speak by themselves. And the criteria that I use is I didn't think about who was behind. I didn't think if it was young people. I didn't think about that. I just thought about the experience that they took us, the journey they took us. And I loved to see so many young Latinos in front and behind the camera.
Thank you so much for being here. And last but not least, the great Omar Camilo, director, editor, and writer with a long career who has won 3 Emmy Awards. Good to see you, Omar. How are you doing?
Hi, fine. I'm very proud to be here with you. For me, it's an honor.
Omar, switching gears, what topics covered in the short film surprised you the most, and why?
Well, I think Dulce has nothing to invite to any animated short film at professional level. And particularly for me, I just lost my dad just a week before watching this short. And for me, this short touched my heart, definitely, because it's I think it's a beautiful way to understand that death is or can be a beautiful transformation towards another form of love. Sometimes, or in my case, I rise with fear to death, and I learn about the years to eliminate that thoughts. And this short film, I think, is amazing and beautiful in that topic.
Now I want to open it up to the three of you. In these times where there's so much talk about artificial intelligence, what do you think these short films have that artificial intelligence could not have done?
Trauma. I'm going to tell you straight out, like, artificial intelligence does not know about childhood drama, does not know about cultural drama or stereotypes. One of the movies that I was shouting out that, in addition to Dulce, who, like Oscar, I mean, it touched my heart. I really think that it should be submitted for a student Oscar. It should win. It is so well done. But one of the other films that really pulled at my heartstrings was Enamorado. I love that you see these two young Latino, men who are part of the LGBTQ plus community who fall in love. And it's a story that in our Latinx community needs to be told. We need to normalize that, not just within our community, but to see it on screen. So the courage that filmmaker had to make this, I'm like, that no matter what happens, I want to give him an honorable shout out. I also want to shout out Go Danny Go, the fact that they use real people that have worked in the fields in telling the story. That's something that AI is not going to know, what the calluses feel like, what the sacrifices feel like when your parents have to put what you want on the line versus what they're doing to even just provide the basic necessities. So off the bat, I think that that's something that AI, as much as someone that's been on the picket line and has seen it firsthand, what we're fighting for, it's something that they can't touch. It's that je ne sais quoi that we bring as filmmakers and as creatives that actually take people on an emotional journey.
Love all of y'all's input today. I appreciate the time that y'all took to contribute to selecting our finalists this year. And now now that we are familiar with our fabulous jury, I'm excited to get to the results. Here are the 10 finalists of the Tu Cuentas Cine Youth Fest.
Did you seriously think I was gonna kiss you? Come on, fucking look at yourself.
Fat. Ugly.
Ugly. Bitch.
Ugly.
Fat.
Futuro.
Señorita Díaz.
Una madre que te cuida para que recuperes la salud y puedas vivir de nuevo.
Not gonna let you get it with that.
Make sure she doesn't look my way then. But she's too fast. She'll be back at the Montador before you get back. Slow her down then.
And how am I supposed to do that?
I don't know.
Tienes que fluir. Ser tú mismo.
Pásala bien.
Pero sobre todo,
chichen. Chichen con cojones.
No la cagues.
Que me quiero quedar aquí con ella.
Come on, let's move it.
What? Ellos piensan que no somos ciudadanos.
Quieren hacerme una reconstrucción, pero yo pido una revolución. Cuando los de abajo se mueven, seguramente los de arriba se caen.
I had the opportunity to have a movie night and watch the films of our finalists. I am excited to see a wealth of talent and promise as these artists continue to develop as storytellers and challenge themselves through their craft. The future is bright, y'all. I am brimming with pride to see so many independent voices speaking loudly and clearly. All that remains to say is thank you to everyone who participated in this year's festival. If you were left wanting more, you can see the list of finalist films on our website, cineyouthfest.org. All right, y'all. The moment of truth is approaching, but before meeting the winners, let me remind you what prizes each of them will win. Third place will win $1,000. Second place will take home $2,000. And the first place grand prize winner, in addition to all the prestige and applause, will receive $4,000. Let's begin. Third place goes to Go Danny Go. Let's listen to the director, Chelsea Patricia Ramirez.
Go Danny Go is a story about immigrant families, women, and what it truly takes for immigrants and first-generation Americans to pursue a dream in spite of all obstacles. For me, being involved in Go Danny Go and choosing to direct it was a no-brainer. Alongside a wonderful writer and an already beautiful team construction, I was personally inspired and found it personally relatable to take on this project. While Go Danny Go is inspired by a true story, that story is not my personal story, but I come from an immigrant family. I know what it's like to have this dream specifically for me in the arts, and have no real path or direct access to that dream. It took a lot of fighting, a lot of willpower, and a lot of persistence to be where I am today. Danny represents a part of me and a part of all of us that strive towards a dream bigger than ourselves and are still paving the way for generations to come.
Chelsea, you are a Guatemalan American actress, director, and producer. And this year, you are one of our Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Fest winners. Congratulations. It's so good to meet you.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me. And thank you for the recognition, for the space, and for watching the film.
For sure. I am so excited to talk about your work and your process. Before we get into it, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what made you want to dedicate yourself to cinema.
I am a Guatemalan American filmmaker, and surprisingly enough, like I'm sure many of you can relate to, I didn't grow up with any direct means or access to this industry. I think I was always very creative growing up, but I just didn't know that I could be. Even more than that, it's in the industry, there's such a disparity for Latina directors, for Latina talent, for women. And for me, it was hard to see it until I met someone who was embodying that value. I met Patricia Peloso, I met Aurora Guerrero. They've been mentors of mine. I worked with Aurora Guerrero on my first acting project on Little America, which is a story about immigrants in the U.S. I think life has just continued to reveal to me that this is my calling, that I'm supposed to be here, both in performance, through storytelling, through cinema in specific, because I adore camera and lenses and what it takes to create a story and an image within the 16:9 space that we're given. But life has continued to reroute me to this path, and I'm grateful to God that it's done so, because I feel the most fulfilled, and I just hope I can keep inspiring people, and young women especially, to do the same.
How did this particular idea come to you, and how did you analyze the elements within the story, incorporating soccer, this family of women, the fields of strawberries? Can you tell us a little bit about your process?
Yes. I genuinely believe that Go Danny Go chose me. I think if you talk to the writer, that's what he would say as well. And I'm very grateful and lucky and blessed that something as kind of kismet as that could happen to me. The writer is named David Wilner. He's one of my dear friends, a talented director-writer himself, and he wrote the story based off a true story of a friend of his from Oxnard, California, which, as many SoCal residents would know, is a large agricultural space in Ventura County in Camarillo. And I was selected as one of 12 directors from USC's MFA program to pitch for the opportunity to be funded for this project and to go through an incubator style production process. And that's a very competitive opportunity. Ryan Coogler went through that process in his time at USC, and it was very selective. And I chose this project because when I read it, it made me cry. And again, it was originally written for a boy, but for me, as the child of immigrants and having worked with my parents, my mom worked at the swap meet and my dad worked in construction. Having a dream that was beyond the parameters of my immediate existence is something that I directly related to, and I knew I wanted to bring to life on the screen in a joyful, colorful, and spirited way.
I think what's really special, you say these powerful words of opportunity, of joy. I think another big thing that radiated as I watched the film was this very overwhelming sense of love that is sometimes not so perfect, and it's not always so clean. You can't always do the things that you want for the ones that you love. So you see this like push and pull between the sisters. You see this push and pull between a mother and her daughter that I think is so... There's a lot of positivity, and it almost feels like a warm hug as you're watching the events unfold. I recently heard the phrase, men have already said too much. Now the ones who have things to say are women. Do you think more doors are actually opening for women in cinema?
God, I hope they are. I think they are, to be honest. And again, Patricia Cardoso, who is the director of Real Women Have Curves, Lies in Plain Sight, she has already opened the door for me by existing.
Thank you so much, Chelsea, for speaking with us today. And thank you for your art as well as your whole team behind you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you to the film festival, to everyone who watched. We are so grateful for this opportunity, and we just hope that the heart of this film, that's one of dreams, that's a possibility, and pushing yourself, being determined in the face of all odds, is a spirit that people can embrace in their own lives and carry forward in spirit.
Now we move on to the second place winner. And the prize for second place for this year's Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Fest goes to Jayuya. Let's see what Jordan Fernandez has to tell us about his experience working on Jayuya.
I knew I wanted to make a film representing my Puerto Rican culture because of how important the connection is between art and culture in my family. I had a symbolism and art class the same semester we were coming up with ideas for our thesis, and in that class I got to do a lot more research about Taino symbolism and the stories behind them. One of those stories involving the Taino sun god caught my attention, and I decided that I wanted to incorporate it in my film some way. At the same time, there were a few other aspects of Puerto Rico that I knew I wanted to represent. One being the bioluminescent bay near my town in Puerto Rico, and another being the stories about aliens that were told to me as a child. I wanted to combine all of these aspects into a film that was centered around a child's discovery through curiosity. Telling the story through the perspective of a child enabled me to create a fantastical event through an imaginative environment similar to one that I would think about as a kid.
Howdy, Jordan. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
First off, am I pronouncing the film correctly? Jayuya?
Yeah, Hayuya. Yes.
Hayuya.
Hayuya. Yeah.
Hayuya. Well, before we get into your process behind Hayuya, I would like to know a little bit more about you, your journey, and how you connected to Tu Cuentas.
So yeah, I started off as a fine artist. I went to high school here in New York for fine arts, and I've always had a connection to doing art related to my culture because it was a big thing within my family. My mother and my older brother also come from an art background. So I had always been inspired to create art that had deeper meaning to it. And going into college, getting into 3D animation, I learned that it's a great outlet and opportunity to tell a story and to reach a lot of people in that way. So I wanted to make a story that I could do that through.
Absolutely. There's definitely a high level of playfulness, of curiosity, of that childhood-like spirit. I think that radiates so vividly and so loudly through your short. As we've heard, Hayuya refers to Puerto Rico and the Taino indigenous people. What for you were you trying to convey with this film particularly?
Well, I understand that a lot of the average viewer isn't gonna know what the symbolism represents, and I was okay with that. I originally just wanted to make a film that was entertaining and much. Then doing more research into it, like I had mentioned earlier, I took a class where we were studying symbols and art, and when doing further research into the Taino symbols, I found a story that I thought I could turn into a sort of playful event that my character just so happens to stumble upon one night, which is the story of the sun god, which my alien character is representing. And it's basically him catching him, the sun god, going into the lagoon at night when the day is over, and meeting him and going to his world in this underground cave. So it's very magical, and it really showcases the imagination of the child.
It's so beautiful when you see something that you haven't seen before on screen. So so thank you for that. I think also to what you've already said, the animation allows us to connect with the tradition of the Taino-san with something technological and futuristic. How did you find that balance in your artwork and in the creative process?
I wanted to tell a story that would have been able to be understood by a variety of groups of people. So it's fully like okay if you don't understand the whole meaning of the sun god and everything. I wanted it to be able to be understood by anyone watching. So if you just see it as a film about a kid who just finds this magical place and wakes up from a dream and you don't know whether to believe him or not, that is totally, okay. That is kind of what I'm aiming for. But for the people, for my family and friends and the people of Puerto Rico, they can take away a different meaning to the film, which I think is pretty fun. And it's kind of nice that it doesn't have to be understood by everyone.
What I hear is Jordan Fernandez has so many more stories to tell, and is going to need some financiers, some people to back that up. Thank you again, Jordan, for being here with us today. Congratulations. And is there anything else you'd like to leave us with?
No, I would like to thank you guys for having me and giving me this opportunity to share my film with the rest of the people. It was great. Thank you.
And now for the grand prize of the Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Festival. This big winner is also another animated short. It is Dulce, directed by Aleida Ortiz. Let's listen to her testimony to learn about her creative process.
¿Qué es la muerte?
Dulce is a film that's very close to me since it's a very personal film. It's also a love letter to my culture. From an early age, I've always been curious about what death is, and I'm pretty sure many of us have been in the same boat. But at least in my family, when there is a passing, we mourn in a very healthy way. We come together, no matter the circumstances, have a ceremony, tenemos una comida, un café con pan, and we cry. With Dulce, I wanted to open up that conversation of death and have a non-taboo perspective, much like a conversation that I would have in my family. But the film is overall my acceptance of death being natural, but it also showcases my Mexican culture. The film is in Spanish, my mother tongue. The setting is inspired by my grandma's ranch out in the mountains of Chihuahua, and the main character has braids that my mom would give me every morning before school. It's Hispanic representation that we often don't get, and I made it a priority to showcase that in my film.
Aleida, congratulations. It's so good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you got to listen in earlier, but I spoke with the judges, and I think unanimously there is a sense of maturity and beauty in Dulce that is just cutting. It cuts right to our hearts. And so before we get into that, I want to hear a little bit about you and your origins and how you came to film.
Of course. So I'm Aleida Ortiz. I'm a Mexican-American artist. I'm from a small town in New Mexico. And I pretty much just grew up doing fine art. I grew up drawing, painting, literally using whatever I can get my hands on. And then I think I just slowly started transitioning into like getting more interested in like digital art. And that's when I came into the School of Visual Arts and studied computer animation and visual effects. And there it's really just having a new medium to express myself, and that new medium just happens to be film.
And this particular short film is triggered by a question that is difficult to ask as it is to answer. What is death? How did you come up with this story?
Right. So the story came into mind whenever I was coming back from Mexico. I was actually in my car, and I remember just looking out and then just seeing like the land, like the flat land, the mountains in the back, just exactly like that landscape. And I just remember telling myself, like, imagine just like a very simple and sweet story about death and who death is. So the mountains clearly, like, that's just me growing up in like my grandma's ranch. I would go any chance that we could get. It's very serene, it's very peaceful, and I really wanted that feeling to be in my film. The other side, which I deemed el otro lado, I would say that's a combination of a lot of inspiration, specifically like the stippling effect of there's like a style and like tattoos that I'm like fascinated with because it's very delicate and it's very nice. But it's a stippling style that I really wanted to showcase in El Otro Lado. I really wanted them to be like a drastic change, kind of like a yin and yang.
Switching gears, this year, Tu Cuentas has awarded 2 animated shorts, and I'm curious to hear what you think about the growth of animation within cinema.
I think, like Guillermo has said, animation is cinema. And I completely agree. It's just a different medium to really showcase film. It's not just for children, I would say. It's for anyone. So I'm really happy that animation is getting the attention that it deserves.
Well, again, congratulations on this short film and on being the grand prize winner of Tu Cuentas this year. The film runs us through the gamut of emotions in a very short time. You've set the bar so high, and I know I am, and I think a lot of folks watching are very, very excited to see what you do next. Is there any parting words you have for us today?
I think create. If you want to create, don't let anything stop you. If you have an idea, put it out there. Just do it.
Thanks again. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us. It's a great opportunity. What can I say?
We are reaching the end, but first, we want to thank those who made Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Fest possible. International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival, Center for Puerto Rican Studies, Film Freeway, National Hispanic Caucus of State Legislators, Northeastern Illinois University, Northeastern Illinois University Foundation, Real Works, Philadelphia Latino Film Festival, Roberto Clemente Community Academy, Esperanza College, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, St. Francis College, University of Houston, the Film Club at UH, Municipality of Comerio, Fundación Cortés, LPZ Media, and Municipality of Loíza. And you, watching on the other side of this screen, where's your film? What are you waiting for? Show us what you have to say. I have no doubt that Tu Cuentas CINE Youth Fest in 2024 will be even better, with many fresh and diverse stories to tell that will inspire us towards a better world. I'm Raymond Arturo Perez. Until next time.